What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. I can't wait for the hate comments. I know they're coming. I was in the middle of filming a new video for you guys when my phone kept blowing up because of this new Apple developer policy change. It really didn't change, though. And I think that when 9to5Mac read it, they were reading it with the anticipation of what they wanted to see, not what actually the policy is or what the change was that was made. And I'm on your side. I'd love to see emulators come to Apple, but that's not what it says. And I did the rare thing of taking some notes so that I can explain it to you. So let's take a look. So here I was debating whether I wanted to wait till Monday to post anything about this because it really is kind of one of those things where it could wreck your weekend. But if you get it Monday, it's going to wreck your Monday and probably your whole week. So I thought it was best I get on here right away and just try to explain what I think is happening. I've been part of the developer program for about 15 years now, and they word things a little funny sometimes. But I think that what happened with 9to5Mac, which is who posted this, and then everybody followed along, was somebody wanted it to say what they thought it said. I mean, I wanted to say that, but they read it with the anticipation of it saying that, and that's what they read. They didn't really read between the lines because there's nothing between the lines. They read the lines. They just cherry picked out parts of it to create this scene where Apple's going to be putting emulators on their platform. There's already emulators in the Apple App Store. They were trying to reiterate the guidelines for those apps that are already in there. I took a screenshot of the exact wording of what is in the Apple Developer Program. This is section 4.7. This is the section that everybody's going bonkers over today, thinking that this means that there's going to be emulators on the Apple Store, separate from what are already on there today. Guideline changes were first made public by 9to5Mac. Apple Guidelines Update doesn't say exactly what you think it does. You can read it, you'll see the words that you think are in there, but you have to read the whole thing together. The reasoning behind the change in section 4.7 in the new Apple guidelines are to, and I quote, support updated policies, upcoming features, and to provide clarification. There's been a few changes within the developer program recently with changes over in the EU and allowing sideloading of apps and opening the marketplace up to developers such as Epic to be on the marketplace, who would then be allowed to put games like Fortnite and stuff on there that they can't do now. That's really what this is all about. If I can whittle this down, I think it'll make sense. If you try to read what's not between the lines, this is where it gets confusing. This will allow vendors to use an individual emulator to emulate their own catalog. For example, Sega already has games on iPhone, but each game runs on an individual emulator to make the ROM run. They own both the ROM and the emulator as two separate entities. With this update, a company like Sega or Nintendo through NSO or any other publisher could offer ROMs from their library to be downloaded to an emulator which can house multiple games. So think about one of your retro emulators that you use. Say we're going to play 3DS on Citra. If Citra was owned by that company with the guy with the mustache, for instance, they could have their games set up so that you could just play them directly through Citra. You wouldn't be searching the web or taking your own ROMs off of your devices. They already do this with the Nintendo Switch on NSO. All the games for these throwback systems, whether it be GBA, Game Boy, NES, SNES, those are all running on emulators on NSO. So it would be something similar to that where they're all housed together. It states in section 4.7, software that is not embedded in the binary. So that's allowing you to bring things in. So the games are not coded in there already. Software that's not embedded in the binary. So this is allowing you to download ROMs, which Apple's not going to allow an app to download ROMs from some ROM website. Examples, it then goes, retro game console apps can offer to download games. So these emulators will be able to download game, and you can only download your own intellectual property. You can't just download willy-nilly. Followed up with, such software complies with the guidelines of all applicable law. We already know the emulation is legal. It's what you emulate that creates the unlawful operation. That's been adjudicated. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice, but we know that's been adjudicated. These retro game console apps are allowing the download of ROMs for emulation. You will have to be the owner of the property you are allowing others to download and emulate. What I see coming from this is publisher stores similar to Epic opening up, allowing you to emulate from their library of ROMs for you to purchase games, then play those games within their emulator. Let me repeat that. What I think is happening here, and why I think that they got this wrong, what I believe we're going to see is publisher stores, similar to something like Epic, opening up and allowing you to emulate from their library ROMs that you purchase, and you can play those games within their emulator. Similar to what Sega does now, if you want to play Sonic, you are using an individual emulator for that Sonic game. This would allow them to open up that same emulator, and Sonic 2 comes out, now you have Sonic 1 and 2 on that emulator. Or they want to sell you some other Sega game. They could sell you that one throughout that emulator. And I'm sure Apple will still get their 30% or whatever, but they will be able to make those transactions through that emulator and not have to build an individual emulator for each individual game when they all run on their system. This rule change only allows the emulators every retro gamer, myself included, wants to think it does. if you only read retro game console app and leave out the rest of the policy, including the end of the sentence, which stated can offer to download game. Apple loves making their own rules and doing whatever they want. That being said, I'm sorry to say they aren't even brazen enough to violate their own policies of the publishers they continually work with. So I hate to be the one to bring the bad news, but I hope that explains what I believe that this wording means. I don't think it means what 9 to 5 thought it did, and I think a lot of publications just jumped on it right away to try to be first to press, and nobody really thought through exactly what they're looking at. Now, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I will get on here and admit that, but I am fairly positive that this is what's happening. So I'm sorry to be the one to bring that bad news, but hey, I am working on another video for you guys right now. Down in my comment section, let me know what you think. I know some people are going to disagree with me. That's cool. I want to see everybody's opinions and why, because you could sway my opinion too. And we're going to find out eventually anyways, but I just don't want you to have to lull on this. But leave down in the comment section what you think and why. Maybe point me to some resources that tell me that I'm wrong. And I'm going to get back to working on my video now. So don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends because sharing helps grow the channel. I could use all the help I can around here. Also, YouTube was nice enough to put a couple suggestions right here for you to take a look at. Videos they think you're going to like, and YouTube's never wrong. So I would click on one of those until my next video comes out. That's all I got for today. I'm out. Bye-bye.